this is what Gumi said to Peter Obi, and I quote, "Even if you don't win beyond the 2023 elections, don't let the movement you have started end." The second was what President Muhammadu Buhari said to Peter Obi on the 22nd of October, 2022. And I quote, from what I read in the newspapers, Nigerians, especially the Nigerian media, like you may not win this particular election, but age is on your side. I tried 4 times before I finally won. Now for a sitting president to be giving that advice to somebody who was likely to succeed him speaks volume. It was he who instigated, encouraged Nigerian youth to take back their country. It was a mere slogan, but it caught on and eventually became a mantra by itself. That led to this huge change in electioneering mindset, in the modality, in the fact that there were young people who were obedient, who went out to canvass for people to pick up their PVCs and pushed the voting population from less than 80 million to 93 million. It was done by the obedient.
People don't blame Peter Obi talk, say, take advantage of the obedient movement immediately after the election to make sure, say, it begin do this registration where you do not say for drum that 2023. In fact, before the court judgment, unlike now, Peter Obi for no talk anything like go day the account and they no agreement will count the vote to go count them because not peace man. But these days, you see the kind of statements we make yesterday when you say when they do the next election, now say they go vote must count because who no agreement the votes count, say they go count the person. That kind of statement just like no be waiting they common for Peter Obi to make because him that peacemaker would always come for peace. So what do you think is happening to the mind of Peter Obi based on all of this new development about him?
Nigeria is officially in a state of constitutional crisis. We're not realizing that yet. Certificate of return has been issued to a so-called president-elect unconstitutionally. There are therefore 2 meanings, 2 interpretations, and 2 understandings of the declaration made. One is that one by INEC. One is that one of the people. When I said of the people is whoever can read section 134 of the Constitution and take a position, then we are entitled to our own view of what crisis is facing Nigeria now. The certificate of return issued to Alhaji Tinubu is a dud certificate. It is one certificate that breaches the provisions of section 134. Therefore, the requirements to be declared as president-elect have not been met by Tinubu-Shetima ticket. The declaration, therefore, as it stands now, as far as the people of Nigeria who choose to adopt the literal, clear, interpreted meaning of Section 134 is concerned, there is really no president-elect.
Based on that, you think Peter Obi perhaps they grow today as radical as that's Baba Ahmed been the speak at that time, or maybe it's be that calm peacemaker because he just like person like Jonathan we talk say in political career or ambition, no they worth to take anybody life or no supposed carry anybody head. Or do you think that it would have been otherwise? Waiting, you really think? Now, speaking about what Sheikh Gumi talk about Peter Obi, again waiting if he say Peter Obi ally, one Peter Obi ally, Osa Local, and if I remember his name, now waiting he talk during the book launch we didn't get yesterday about Peter Obi. He speak extensively about the character of Peter Obi, and he exposed waiting he be saying say Sheikh Gumi tell him about Peter Obi and the obedient movement in the wake of the 2023 election. That's what let's go here with him.
Peter Obi's visit to Arewa House on 17th October 2022. At the meeting before his engagement at Arewa House, he has stopped to see Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Gumi. And this is what Gumi said to Peter Obi, and I quote, "Even if you don't win beyond the 2023 elections, don't let the movement you have started end." End of quote. What movement was he talking about? The obedient movement. I don't know if he's clairvoyant, but it seems so. The second was what President Muhammadu Buhari said to Peter Obi on the 22nd of October, 2022. And I quote, from what I read in the newspapers, Nigerians, especially the Nigerian media, like you may not win this particular election, but age is on your side. I tried 4 times before I finally won. End of quote. Now, for a sitting president to be giving that advice to somebody who was likely to succeed him speaks volumes. And I believe that both remarks must undergird the inevitability of a new Nigeria that is possible. They must continue to drive us and compel us not to drop the baton. It was he who instigated, encouraged Nigerian youth to take back their country. It was a mere slogan, but it caught on and eventually became a mantra by itself. That led to this huge change in electioneering mindset, in the modalities, in the fact that there were young people who were obedient, who went out to canvass for people to pick up their PVCs and pushed the voting population from less than 80 million to 93 million. It was done by the obedient. Obi's unheralded presidential candidacy was in and by itself an instrument of soft power. And I think Sam spoke to that. There was no use of force. There was no advocacy for force. It was all about moral suasion when there were other alternatives that were open to some people, including myself and in this room. Because I've heard it said that all we wanted was for Obi to say, let's march, and we would have marched. And we know that we would have marched. But being who he was, it reminds me of what President Jonathan said, that his being president is not worth a drop of blood of any Nigerian. In the same vein, even though Peter Obi had not said that, his actions, as captured in the book, were such that it was, let's take our country back, but we don't have to do it violently. I know some people might still blame him for not giving that go-ahead, but it is documented in what he tried to do. A national politician, whom I will not name, said on record that Peter Obi and the obedient movement are largely effervescent, something that will disappear in the air, a phenomenon that would have to blow away with time. He was wrong. I know that he has since changed his mind, and he has said so publicly. And he has called Peter Obi and to say, I was wrong. When you came to my house, I told you, you can never be president. I have changed my mind. So we won one contact from the establishment. Because I follow history. Some of you might not know, when the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, became president, people around him found that there was not one single book that had been written about him. And he had been president, and he had been out of office for 30 years. They quickly rushed a book to explain him to Nigerians. Today, I can tell you that nobody is going to rush a book to explain Peter Obi to Nigerians and the world.
You don't hear waiting one major man will be Peter Obi ally talk. By the way, he just resigned from the Labour Party for inside Edo State where he did recently. And yeah, that's the reason he get to talk for inside that book launch. I would like to know what you think about him. Now, he did say quite a lot. A lot of people go talk, say, oh, why EB say Peter Obi could hobnob with people like Sheikh Gumi and all that. Even though some people don't talk, say, oh, Peter Obi no go be the president. If he become president, he no go be the president of only the good people of Nigeria, or both the good, bad, and ugly. So you hear that advice when you talk to Sheikh Gumi give Peter Obi, say, they don't see in clout where BC carry, basically speaking it in clear terms, and say that clout where he carry, even if he no win the election, making no let him die. People don't blame Peter Obi talk say take advantage of the obedient movement immediately after the election to make sure say it begin do this registration way they do now. Say for drum that 2023. In fact, before the court judgment even finish, you get database of the obedient people then and all those work at them then, because now the momentum don't they like say it down down small. But people come some people they talk say obedient movement don't turn to an ideology. Say it go hard before it be say it go down. So say Peter Obi still gets that momentum where it be say carry. People they see him, some people they talk say people they see him as the one person where be say gets some semblance of better character, transparency, and way they willing to be accountable to the people. I go like know what's in your mind be, your mindset be for that thing the way be say talk. Remember, say Peter Obi these days, it can't be like say, hey, they won't rest for anybody anymore because he don't they give basketballs, they criticize. Unlike now, Peter Obi for no talk anything like go dey the account, I mean, the no agreement will count the vote, go count them because not peace man. But these days, you see the kind of statements where you make yesterday when you say when they do the next election, now say the vote must count because who no agree make the votes count, say they go count the person. That kind of statement just like no be waiting they common for Peter Obi to make because him that peacemaker would always come for peace. So what do you think is happening to the mind of Peter Obi based on all of this new development about him? And apart from that, you hear within or the Oga talk when he talks, say as a matter of fact, say people been the wait after that election for Peter Obi to just say move and everybody for move, perhaps in protest, maybe now they try to explain. But Peter Obi rather maintain peace, say lie, you need to do anything in one space. Remember, say that's Baba Ahmed too been don't talk say the worst thing we be say then do now to make sure say they no even make any movement during that period. Say in fact, say they for carry the waka enter inside Obodo Ibo America, they for carry the matter reach different places. Say because waiting won't happen for that election, no be legitimating. He talk am them because that's Baba Ahmed, that person will be say he never stop to talk about in displeasure and the things and we feel about the election. But for all these things we be say they talk, waiting be your mindset, waiting you really think about all this one will be saying. Now, I think I have a footage of that Baba Ahmed speaking on this issue earlier on. I for like play for you, make you hear. Considering that thing with that Baba Ahmed talk, I will play what's in talk before the court judgment, immediately after the election, and the one when talk after the court judgment. Based on that, he thinks Peter Obi perhaps they grow today as radical as that Baba Ahmed been the speak at that time, or maybe it be that calm peacemaker, because he just like person like Jonathan we talk say in political career or ambition, no worth to take anybody life or no supposed carry anybody head. Or do you think that it would have been otherwise? Waiting you really think about these things. So if you say advice, when you say both former presidents Muhammadu Buhari and Sheikh Gumi give Peter Obi during the election or before the election. What do you think about these advices as Oga Seliko talk for inside this interview? I would really like to take your mind and reaction on the matter. But make we go watch that thing with that Baba Ahmed talk immediately after the election, because I like to bring on evidence so that go talk in my mouth, you hear them. Go watch us talk immediately after the election, then we'll come back.
Nigeria is officially in a state of constitutional crisis. We're not realizing that yet. Certificate of return has been issued to a so-called president-elect unconstitutionally. There are therefore two meanings, two interpretations, and two understandings of the declaration made. One is that one by INEC. One is that one of the people. When I said of the people is whoever can read section 134 of the Constitution and take a position, then we are entitled to our own view of what crisis is facing Nigeria now. The certificate of return issued to Alhaji Tinubu is a dud certificate. It is one certificate that breaches the provisions of section 134. Therefore, the requirements to be declared as president-elect have not been met by Tinubu Shetima ticket. The declaration, therefore, as it stands now, as far as the people of Nigeria who choose to adopt the literal, clear, interpreted meaning of Section 134 is concerned, there is really no president-elect. Section 134 stipulates who to be declared an issued certificate of return. It is only that candidate that has scored the highest number of votes and at least 25% in each in at least two-thirds of the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory.
All right.
Remember, and now it is very clear, Tinubu does not have 25% in the FCT. We denied him. We got 61%. Atiku does not have 25% in the FCT. We denied both of them. By the clear, unambiguous provision of the Nigerian Constitution, which must not be breached, Tinubu has not satisfied the requirement to be declared president-elect. Accordingly, there is no president-elect for Nigeria now. I repeat, accordingly, there is no president-elect for Nigeria at the moment because the declared one violates the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I know what I'm saying. The Constitution is there in your presence, it's available. Everybody is reading it as I speak. I'm not therefore behaving illegally or unconstitutionally. To the contrary, I am supporting constitutionality. It is in fact better for the powers that be to go and create additional 6% out of thin air and rig it back to Tinubu and therefore swear him in on 25% than to go ahead and take the risk of swearing in a so-called president-elect that has not met the constitutional requirement. This document you read is not a puzzle. It is in English. It is law. The law is not a game for politicians to play. This document is not available for Yakubu to interpret that day. It is there for him to follow. The English is very clear. These are fundamental provisions of the Constitution. They come already interpreted. You cannot take a gun, shoot somebody, and then ask the family to go and get interpretation that you only fired your weapon and then it killed him. No. This Constitution is more than abundantly clear. It says and. Show, you know the meaning of and. We know the meaning of and. That constitutional requirement has not been met. That certificate of return is null and void and cannot be sworn in as president. And let me tell you, the way they are going, disregarding the calls of the people, violating the Constitution, let them even go ahead, even if they swear in Tinubu Shetima on 29th of May. They are swearing in an unconstitutional government. Nothing will change it. I am not a careless, reckless speaker. I am working with the Constitution there, that document, right, you just read. I'm following it. And I dare to tell you that swearing in Tinubu and Shetima is as good as swearing in the Nigerian army on 29th of May. If you swear in people that have not satisfied the requirement, you have by so doing ended democracy. This, our democracy, is going to end by the way we are going. This document is a product of the legal system. It has been signed into law by the President, Commander-in-Chief, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I believe in this document. That is why I'm so confident. However extreme it is, Sheung, I am saying it on national TV. Swearing in a ticket that has not met the constitutional requirements, okay, is ending democracy. Quote me on it.
That's your interpretation.
That is my interpretation. And that is indeed a correct interpretation. You cannot swear people who have not met the constitutional requirement. You can't do that. If you did it, you have done something unlawful, something unconstitutional. And I'm repeating it. Whoever does not meet the constitutional requirement must never be sworn in. You said my name. If you like, I can say it again. I'm Dr. Baba Ahmed. I'm repeating. Swear in anybody who does not meet the constitutional requirements of our country. You are engaging in an unconstitutional act. I am taking these risks for the sake of my country. Yes, it is extreme and I'm saying it. It was more extreme for Yakubu to issue that certificate. It was reckless. He is putting all our lives in danger. We're already at risk. So what is there again in me taking risks again? What have they not done against Nigeria? What have they not abused in Nigeria? Now they will take the Constitution where it is clear, it says get 24, after that and FCT. They fail to get it. They are going to swear this man in and I should be afraid. I will not be.
So this particular interview, now immediately after the election, before the swearing in, and before the court judgment, Buhaha and all of those issues, now Dati Baba Ahmed will make this interview. And you see, I'm saying, hold the mouth water, even talk a lot about them and he maintain a stance. He talk, say, if you carry and go up or come down, say that's in when you say it be, now so it take be, great moving mouth. So as it take be, based on this conversation what they get about Peter Obi, you see Peter Obi to perhaps turn today radical like this now, because so they say person need to learn left hand for old age. Now that and waiting they likely today possible. I would like also play back waiting that Baba Ahmed can talk back recently towards the 2 years midterm preparation of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He never took away be say he been get that particular interview. He himself also get another interview. Why he maintain almost the same stand again? I could go here and this time around, this particular interview now for Arise Television.
A sworn-in government needs to be and must be consistent with the constitution of the country. And now, if I were to open the relevant sections to you that we have discussed before, they are at variance with the justice served on Nigeria. So with due respect to the justice system, it is valid to ask, did the custodians of the law do the lawful? And the answer is simply no. We do recognize that the courts have the power to do all and everything, but that all and everything must be justice. The sworn-in Tinubu-Shetima government does not strictly comply with the Nigerian constitution as it were today, so it is not out of place for any objective mind to still call it unconstitutional. Mildly, one could say it is questionably constitutional, but then here's the big rejoinder to it. 9 out of 16 Nigerian leaders did not buy INEC forms, yet they served their terms. One of them 9 years, General Gawan, President Babangida 8 years. Nothing could, they were not consistent with the then written constitution because the constitutions were suspended. The point I'm making is that you could be a president, you could be a head of state, you could be a leader, you could be a dictator, so long as you are allowed to remain there. And the big point here is that Tinubu was allowed and is allowed to remain there, despite the efforts of people like me. You remember my efforts. I called clearly for Tinubu-Shetima not to be sworn in, and it was legal, it is legitimate. Up to now. Why? I gave my reasons. Then, did the Nigerian constitution have an alternative to that? Yes, of course, very constitutional. Ahmed Lawal could have served to, I think, 8th or 9th of June. And at the point of electing a new Senate president, he acts out the balance of 90 days during which a second or rerun election was to be held because Tinubu-Shetima did not satisfy the demands of the constitution to be sworn in. However, it was allowed. I tried to legitimately form what I called then the Constitutional Crisis Resolution Group. All we had to do was to take 3 documents, the Constitution, INEC results, and the options. Go to Washington, Brussels, London, Addis Ababa, on 29th, occupy Eagle Square. Tinubu will not be there today. And the beauty of stopping injustice is that it will not perpetrate itself. Bad leadership is a virus. What do viruses do? They create more, they become more and more and more. We should have stopped this before it happened, and legitimately so, constitutionally so, irrespective of the powers, the DSS, the police, you simply serve a notice. You see, the word democracy is still having a great deal to be understood. When you have a democracy, it means that at some point in time, the people will come out and be the arbiters themselves. Right now, Nigerian governments are governments because they have the army, they have the police and all those security forces surrounding and protecting them while they misrule. And the Nigerian people have no propensity to really take up their governments. Well, that is the meaning of democracy, that behind the Nigerian army, there is the army of the Nigerian people, whom if you transgress their constitution, they will come out against it. Well, now, bad leadership has realized the incapacity of Nigerians to come together and protect their rights. That is why I told you that if you cannot practice democracy, for God's sake, democracy is not for you. There were the hunger protests about last year also. But when you have 1,000 people doing what 1 million people should do, they will be trampled.
For someone to have organized 2007, culminating in his electoral heist in 2023, that person must be super smart politician. I'm not praising him at all. It's not good to be what really he is that I don't want to say. But look, he skipped 2007 and jokingly made Atiku candidate, made Ribadu and somebody 11, made Buhari in 15, Buhari won, and then skipped 2019 and then stole 2023. If he is that smart, everything is there for him that he's going to lose 2027. If he is that smart. because everything is there. There are two possible candidates that I cannot mention, and they are the nemesis of Tinubu. Tinubu's time has come. It has been proven that APC is a lie. Buhari did not develop Nigeria. Buhari did not provide security. Buhari did not fight corruption. Neither will Tinubu ever do this. So going forward, I see APC losing this election. I see Nigerians somehow uniting. Listening to what someone like me is saying that, look, if you cannot practice this democracy, it's not for you. And then Nigerians will decide to come out and practice democracy for the first time. And then bad leadership will begin to have no hiding place in Nigeria. And then gradually, we'll begin to heal our land. We'll begin to recover. We'll begin to unite and take each other's as fellow Nigerians, brothers and sisters.
Compare them to waiting or say local talk about Peter Obi. What you really think? I just give on two sides of that story. Talking about the Peter Obi himself, so Oga never rests because he don't talk now. He don't lambast government as he decry the growing insecurity and hardship for inside the country. He describe the country as a crime scene where they in their need of repair. Now, so Peter Obi don't describe Nigeria. Say Nigeria na a crime scene where they in serious need to be repaired. Now, I be they talk this one for public presentation of a book. Obi, the political change agent, where he be a person where write now one Ike Aboye. And at the end, they talk. In fact, make a quote the thing that we talk. He said, today in Nigeria, we are not officially at war, yet Nigerians are living in IDP camps. In their own country, Nigerians are refugees in Chad, in Cameroon, and the only reason is because we don't have a government that cares for them. Say now, what's make it day like that? So now people don't look and say, it be like say people don't they talk more than they talk before. In fact, it don't lambast government. Say how it be say government go spend 39 billion naira for the renovation of International Conference Center, then come put icing on top the renovation, change the name to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu name. Say in fact, it call them saying a gross misplacement of priorities, benefiting the elite at the expense of the poor. Because what will be the purpose of International Conference Center? We go spend 39 billion for. Say this one, not to misplace priority, we be saying now only the rich now they benefit and they leave the poor. Now, Obi talked this one for inside Abuja. They announced the facilitation of 3 development projects worth over 6 million naira for the government girls secondary school, Chibok, for inside Borno State. He emphasized, say, the investments in education are not mere donations, but crucial in contributions to national development. Now, there way they talk. He talk a lot of things. He said, make a quote up the way he talk. So I know we hear him from me. He said the 39 billion used to renovate the International Conference Center would have been better spent on addressing urgent issues affecting Nigerian school children who are in desperate need for such investment instead of to rebuild and rebrand and recharge International Conference Center. Now, what's in a talk? He can't say he questioned the rationale behind the project, pointing out that public school teachers in the FCT have been on strike for over 3 months due to unpaid salaries. Further evidence, he said, of misplaced government priorities. Because you know go misplaced priorities. When people go on strike, they go renovate somewhere. Now, he said he questioned he said that the kind of money, or that kind of money, 39 billion naira, could have procured thousands of computers for schools across Nigeria, helping to empower the next generation. Well, Obi talk a lot of things, but make a leave there. Make a move on to another matter. I don't want to waste time.